Reaching peak ultimate class. The dense, green forest was serene, the chirping of birds and the rustling of leaves painting a picture of tranquility. But deep within, where the shadows were darkest, a storm was brewing. Itachi Uchiha sat cross-legged on a rock, his Sharingan glowing faintly. The Crimson System interface hovered before him, its mocking cat avatar grinning wide. At that moment, Itachi sensed 4 ultimate class devils approaching. Itachi smirked. They're finally moving. I was wondering how long they would tolerate their faction's annihilation. Before the confrontation, Itachi made a decision that would tip the scales. System, open the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan menu, he ordered. The interface glitched momentarily before displaying a detailed menu. Available EMS options. Shop. Level 2. 1. Sasuke Uchiha 20 million shock points. 2. Itachi Uchiha 22 million shock points. 3. Obito Uchiha 35 million shock points requires rank 3 access. Plus 13 more. Itachi's eyes scanned the options. Obito's. Tempting. But I need to unlock level 3 shop to access his techniques, which will only happen if I spend 100 million shock points. For now, my own will suffice. Purchase confirmed. Itachi's EMS 22 million shock points deducted. As the upgrade activated, a searing pain lanced through his eyes. Itachi gritted his teeth, refusing to show weakness. The Sharingan in his eyes shifted and spun, transforming into the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. System, he rasped, show me the chakra menu. Increase it to cage level. Chakra enhancement activated. Current chakra level, low cage. Additional chakra purchased. Cage level achieved. Cost, 4 million shock points. A surge of power coursed through him, and Itachi clenched his fists, testing his newfound strength. His chakra reserves, once limited, now roared within him like an unending tide. Dash dash dash. Far from Itachi, in the same forest, Kateria Leviathan and her entourage of 3 ultimate class devils moved silently. Kateria, a stunning figure with flowing violet hair and piercing eyes, radiated authority. Her power as a leader of the old Satan faction was unmistakable, her aura oppressive even to her allies. One of the devils, a muscular figure with spiked armor, paused mid-step. Do you feel that, Lady Kateria? Kateria frowned, her violet eyes narrowing. Yes. His power. It's different. He might have removed his seals. Another devil, a slender woman with a cruel smile, sneered. So the rumors are true. He's been using something, artifacts, or perhaps he's truly that strong and only seals his power to appear weak. Kateria's lips curled into a scornful smile. It doesn't matter. If he has indeed removed his seals, it makes no difference to us. We are the elite. He is still human. But, Lady Kateria, the third devil interjected cautiously, that surge. It feels almost demonic. He might be closer to your level. Kateria's expression darkened. Don't be absurd. Even if he has reached ultimate class, he cannot match me. This human is an insect compared to the likes of us. She paused, her tone sharpening. Still, stay on your guard. If he has truly reached such a level, we cannot underestimate him. Dash dash dash. The 4 devils entered the clearing where Itachi stood waiting. The serene forest had grown unnaturally still, as though the trees themselves sensed the impending carnage. Itachi didn't move, his figure shadowed beneath the moonlight, his cloak swaying in the breeze. Kateria stopped a few meters away, her lips curling in disdain. So, you're the one causing all this trouble. I must admit, I'm disappointed. I expected someone more imposing. Itachi raised his head, his newly awakened M's glowing like twin crimson stars. The sheer intensity of his gaze caused one of the lesser devils to flinch. You shouldn't have come, Itachi said calmly, his voice cold and devoid of emotion. Kateria laughed, a melodic sound that echoed through the clearing. And why is that, human? Do you think you can stop us? I am Kateria Leviathan, a true heir to the old Satan bloodline. Your power is nothing compared to mine. Itachi's gaze didn't waver. If you truly believed that, you wouldn't feel the need to introduce yourself. The insult landed, and Kateria's smile vanished. Her aura flared, a torrent of violet energy that shook the ground beneath her feet. Enough. I will enjoy crushing you. The three ultimate class devils spread out, their auras flaring as well. The air grew heavy, suffocating with the weight of their combined power. But Itachi remained unmoved, his M's spinning slowly, calculating every possible outcome. Kateria took a step forward. Shall we begin? The Sharingan flared. You already have. Morning light filtered through the now devastated forest. Where lush greenery once stood, a wasteland stretched as far as the eye could see. Black flames from Amaterasu still burned, consuming everything in their path. The ground was cracked and split, fissures running deep into the earth. The corpses of three ultimate class devils littered the battlefield, their expressions frozen in fear and agony. Near the center of the destruction, Kateria Leviathan knelt, her once pristine attire torn and bloodied. Her face was pale, her confidence shattered. Itachi stood before her, unscathed save for a few scratches. His crimson eyes bore into her, cold and unyielding. His foot pressed lightly on the back of her head, forcing her to bow into the dirt. Please, she whispered, her voice trembling. Spare me. I'll give you anything you want, power, information, my body. Just don't kill me. Itachi tilted his head, considering her words. Spare you. His voice was devoid of warmth. After you tried to kill me. Why should I? Tears streamed down Kateria's face as she stammered, I didn't know. I underestimated you. Itachi's gaze didn't soften. You underestimated a human. That was your first mistake. Begging for mercy is your second. The forest was silent save for the crackling of flames and Kateria's broken sobs. The world, it seemed, had learned a harsh lesson. The power of the Uchiha was not to be trifled with. Itachi Uchiha had reached a level few could comprehend in this world. 4 comments 0 vote. Return to Koha City. The air in the wasteland crackled with the lingering embers of Amaterasu, black flames consuming the last remnants of the battlefield. Kateria Leviathan knelt on the scorched earth, her trembling body a stark contrast to the calm, stoic figure of Itachi Uchiha before her. His eternal Mangekyo Sharingan gleamed with a cold light, yet he made no move to deliver the finishing blow. Go, he said finally, his voice sharp and commanding. Kateria looked up, disbelief etched across her battered face. You're letting me go? Itachi's eyes narrowed. I've made my point. If you value your life, you'll take this opportunity to disappear. Don't make me regret this decision. Kateria didn't need to be told twice. With a shaky nod, she activated a teleportation circle and vanished, leaving the devastated battlefield behind. 5,500,000 shock points gained. Itachi sighed, deactivating his Sharingan as the strain of the past days caught up with him. His chakra reserves, though immense, were now dangerously low. He gazed at the burning wasteland one last time before turning away, his black cloak billowing in the wind as he left. Koha City. Itachi stepped off the train at Koha City Station, his figure drawing a few curious glances from passers-by. His calm demeanor and unassuming presence blended seamlessly into the bustling city. The first thing he did was seal his power back to its previous state. The system interface appeared before him as he adjusted the settings. Seal activated. Chakra reduced to pre-upgrade levels. M's locked until manually released. Back to square one, Itachi muttered under his breath. He left the station and disappeared into the crowded streets, his thoughts already focused on his next steps. Kuo Academy. At Kuo Academy, the day was as ordinary as ever. Students chatted and laughed, blissfully unaware of the supernatural forces constantly at play around them. Leaning against a tree near the main building, Itachi observed the school grounds. He kept his presence concealed, ensuring no ordinary human could detect him. Moments later, a familiar figure approached, Rias Grimori, her crimson hair gleaming like a banner of nobility. Itachi, she greeted warmly, flashing him a bright smile. You've been gone for a while. I had work to do, he replied simply, his tone as neutral as ever. Rias tilted her head, curious but unwilling to press further. Well, it's good to see you back. I was hoping we could spend some time together because after school, we'll be heading to the underworld. Itachi raised an eyebrow but said nothing. He noticed the slight blush on her cheeks and the way she lingered before stepping away. She's still trying to recruit me into her peerage, he thought, a faint smile appearing on his face. At least I can farm more shock points from her persistence. Later, in the library, Itachi found a quiet spot to rest. While the books weren't particularly interesting, the calm atmosphere suited him. Nearby, Kaneko Tuju sat silently, munching on a snack. Following me? Itachi asked bluntly, not even looking up. Maybe, Kaneko replied with her usual calm demeanor, her gaze barely shifting toward him. How can you use senjutsu? Not senjutsu, chakra, he corrected, smirking faintly. Her expression remained stoic, but when he noticed he didn't gain any shock points, his smirk faltered. Shortly after, Akano Himehime entered the library. Her graceful steps and commanding presence drew immediate attention. She smiled slyly as she approached Itachi. Itachi-kun, she said with a playful lilt, where were you? We thought you got scared and ran away. Maybe, he replied dryly, though the sarcasm in his tone was unmistakable. Akano giggled, clearly enjoying the exchange. She leaned in slightly, her tone softening. You could have at least sent me a personal message. I was worried, you know. Itachi didn't respond, instead rising to leave. He had no intention of entertaining Akano further, especially since her reaction didn't yield him any shock points. The clubroom. Later that evening, the group gathered in the occult research clubroom. It wasn't long before Rias decided to voice the question on everyone's mind. Itachi, she began, her tone curious but firm, where were you these past days? He met her gaze, his expression unreadable. Work. Akano echoed, raising an eyebrow. That's all you're going to say? Yes, he replied curtly. The room fell silent, the unspoken curiosity hanging in the air. It was clear they wanted answers but knew better than to press him further. Rias leaned back, studying him carefully. Well, whatever it was, I'm glad you're back. You always seem to be at the center of something interesting. Itachi's gaze shifted to the window, his tone distant. Interesting. What do you mean by that? Rias smirked slightly and pulled several photographs from her desk. The day you disappeared, strange things started happening in both the human and supernatural worlds. She spread the photos across the table. The blurry images depicted a humanoid figure in black robes adorned with red clouds. Itachi sighed and offered a slight bow. Apologies. That was one of our members. However, he has returned the stolen gold. The group's eyes widened in shock. He sold out his own ally that easily? They thought, disbelief evident in their expressions. With a hand seal, Itachi transformed into Kakuzu. Kaneko's eyes narrowed in curiosity. Chakra can be used like this too. Itachi nodded and then dispelled the transformation. He loves money. The only reason he acted was because someone stole 250 billion from him. Before Itachi could finish, laughter erupted throughout the room. 250 billion. Issei's voice was the loudest as he collapsed to the floor. There's no one on earth worth even 50 billion. Itachi's calm response silenced the room. Just like you didn't believe devils and angels existed not long ago, don't dismiss the possibility. Kiba, rubbing his chin thoughtfully, broke the awkward silence. Makes sense. Before the conversation could continue, a magic circle with the Phoenix family's seal appeared in the room. A maid stepped out, bowing politely, and invited the group to accompany her. As the others prepared to leave, Ria sighed, glancing at a folder labeled Akatsuki before tucking it back into her desk. She had hoped for more time to converse with Itachi, but the chance would have to wait. Itachi, however, smiled inwardly. Transforming into Kakuzu had been a brilliant way to sow confusion and maintain his advantage. 7 comments 0 vote. Before the duel, 1. Itachi Uchiha stepped through the grand entrance, his black cloak emblazoned with red clouds drawing immediate attention. Conversations faltered as hundreds of eyes turned to him, their gazes a mixture of curiosity, disdain, and wariness. A human daring to challenge a noble family like Phoenix, he thought, unflinching under the weight of their scrutiny. The room was filled with some of the most powerful beings in the underworld, no fewer than 100 ultimate-class devils, hundreds of high-class devils, and all 4 devil kings. The oppressive aura was palpable, yet Itachi's composure remained intact, even as a bead of sweat rolled down his temple. So many ultimate-class devils. Itachi's thoughts were calm but calculating. Not even the light novel hinted at this level of presence. His gaze swept across the room, pausing briefly on the 4 devil kings seated on elevated thrones at the far end of the hall. Sears X Lucifer, Ajuka Beelzebub, Falbium Asmodeus, and Seraphal Leviathan radiated authority and power that made the rest of the gathering seem insignificant by comparison. It was Seraphal who broke the tense silence. "Look at you!" she exclaimed, standing abruptly. Her bright, childlike voice cut through the heavy atmosphere, catching everyone off guard. She pointed at Itachi's Akatsuki cloak. "What's with the outfit? Are you cosplaying? I love it." The sudden shift in mood was jarring, murmurs spreading through the crowd. Itachi gave her a polite nod, his face betraying no emotion. "You could say that." Seraphal, undeterred by his curt reply, practically skipped down from her throne, stopping directly in front of him. Her inquisitive eyes studied him intently. "It's got this whole ominous vibe, but it's also kinda cool. Is it a symbol of your power or something?" "It's an organizational outfit," Itachi said vaguely, sidestepping the question. Before Seraphal could press further, the arrival of the Phoenix family diverted the room's attention. Lord Phoenix, accompanied by his wife, their 2 sons, and Revel Phoenix, entered with the grace and poise expected of underworld nobility. They approached the Devil Kings first, offering formal greetings before turning to Itachi. Lord Phoenix's sharp eyes studied him for a moment before offering a polite bow. "Itachi Uchiha, I presume. An honor to finally meet you." "The honor is mine, Lord Phoenix," Itachi replied with a slight bow, his tone calm and measured. Lady Phoenix stepped forward next, her tone warm but curious. "You've certainly made an impression. It's rare for someone from the human world to prompt such an event." Revel, standing slightly behind her parents, seemed torn between curiosity and suspicion, her sharp eyes darting between her father and Itachi. The conversation turned as Lord Phoenix addressed the Devil Kings. "Your presence here, all 4 of you, is unexpected. May I inquire about the occasion?" Seraphal was the first to respond, her cheerful demeanor replaced by a sharp edge. "When 100 Phoenix tears are at stake, we can't exactly stay away, can we?" The room stirred at her words, whispers rippling through the gathered devils. Phoenix tears were legendary for their unparalleled healing properties, and offering so many was no trivial matter. Lord Phoenix's expression remained composed, though a flicker of amusement crossed his eyes. "I see. You believe the stakes warrant such attention. Understandable, though we are confident in our victory." Seraphal smirked, her playful tone returning. "Confident, are we? You Phoenix sure love a challenge. If Itachi here had asked for 1,000 more tears, I'm sure you'd have agreed, wouldn't you? Despite reports claiming you only have 90 left." Lord Phoenix chuckled lightly, his tone even. If he had, we might have considered it. After all, the outcome of this game is certain. And, for the record, we truly only possess 90 Phoenix tiers. Rest assured, this human will lose. As the evening progressed, conversations ebbed and flowed. Itachi found himself at the center of attention more often than he liked, fielding questions from devils curious about his abilities, his intentions, and what they perceived as arrogance. He wished fervently for the fight to begin. Seraphal, in particular, seemed determined to engage him at every opportunity. Her enthusiasm was both overwhelming and strangely endearing. So, Itachi, do you think humans and devils can truly coexist? Or are we just fooling ourselves with all this diplomacy? Itachi met her gaze, his tone steady. Coexistence is possible, but only if both sides are willing to acknowledge their flaws and work past them. Her eyes lit up. That's such a diplomatic answer. You'd make a great ambassador. Ever thought of joining the Underworld's council? Before Itachi could respond, Ajuka Beelzebub interjected from his seat. Seraphal, give the man some space. He's barely been here an hour, and you're already recruiting him. The room erupted in polite laughter, but Itachi remained focused. His mind was already piecing together the intricate layers of devil hierarchy and politics. 1 comments 0 vote. Before the duel, 2. Lord Phoenix approached Itachi again after his lengthy discussions with the 2 devil kings seated on their throne. His tone carried a mix of curiosity and arrogance. Tell me, Itachi, are you truly confident in this arrangement? The stakes are higher than most can imagine. Itachi's calm, unwavering eyes met Lord Phoenix's. Confidence doesn't determine the outcome. Preparation does. Lady Phoenix nodded approvingly. A wise perspective. Though your presence has certainly caused quite the stir. Revel, standing beside her parents, finally found the courage to speak. You don't seem nervous, even with all these powerful devils here. Are humans really so fearless? Itachi's gaze shifted to her, his voice steady and controlled. Fear is a tool. If you control it, it becomes your ally. If it controls you, it becomes your weakness. Revel blinked, momentarily caught off guard by his answer. Before she could respond, Lord Phoenix chuckled. You speak as if you've fought battles far beyond your years. You're only 16, aren't you? Itachi said nothing, his silence serving as quiet affirmation. Not long after, Seraphal reappeared, dragging Ajuka Beelzebub along with her. You've been avoiding the fun part, Ajuka. Come talk to Itachi-kun. Itachi immediately sensed something was off. Ajuka sighed, but his sharp, analytical eyes focused on Itachi. Seraphal exaggerates. Still, I must admit your abilities have piqued my curiosity. A human with the ability to use senjutsu is highly unusual. An anomaly, perhaps, Itachi replied, but one with purpose. Ajuka smirked faintly, the subtle gesture unsettling. Itachi instinctively felt a chill run down his spine. Ajuka's overwhelming presence made it clear, if he chose to act, Itachi would have no chance to respond. His experience told him that Ajuka could likely break free from even the most intricate illusions. And what purpose brings you here? Ajuka inquired, his tone probing. Surely it's not just to play games with devils. Before Itachi could answer, Seer's ex-Lucifer, seated on his throne, spoke with authority. His voice effortlessly carried across the hall. Ajuka, you're probing too deeply. Let the man enjoy the evening before his fight against Lord Phoenix. Ajuka chuckled, stepping back. Of course, Seer's ex. My apologies. Seraphal, unfazed by the exchange, clapped her hands excitedly. Enough boring talk. Itachi, let me show you the dance floor. Itachi raised an eyebrow. I didn't come here to dance. She pouted for a moment before brightening again. Well then, when will your partner arrive? Meanwhile. Watching from the side, Sona Citri commented dryly, it looks like my sister is going to drain him of all the information she can. And he might just reveal it, Rias Grimori added, her tone laced with annoyance. His organization is shrouded in too much mystery. I still don't get it. What's so great about him? Issei Hyodo grumbled, clearly irritated by the attention Itachi was receiving. Itachi's pav. My partner, I thought, recalling the arrangement. I had stated that I would bring a partner to challenge Lord Phoenix. Observing Lord Phoenix and his peerage, I quickly evaluated their strengths. Lord Phoenix himself was at the ultimate class level, while his peerage members averaged at high class. To counter them effectively, I needed someone who excelled in water-based techniques. The solution was clear. I would summon the one known as the Tailless Beast. System: Open Character Summoning. Display Kisame Hoshigaki. A holographic interface appeared in my mind, presenting detailed information. Name: Kisame Hoshigaki. Rank: High Advanced Cage Level Intermediate Ultimate Class. Cost: 30 million shock points. Customization: Available. Open customization, I commanded, and another window appeared. Base price: 10 million shock points. Note: chakra amount cannot be altered. The system explained that summoned characters were bio-puppets, not real entities, and their abilities could be integrated into my own. I could customize Kisami's skill set, removing unnecessary or redundant abilities. I began tailoring Kisami's template. I removed sealing techniques in his beast mode transformation, which I deemed unnecessary for this battle. After eliminating a few other non-essential skills, the final cost was reduced to 22 million shock points. This was a price I could afford. Hold the summoning for now, I said aloud, closing the interface. The time for action was drawing closer, and my preparations were nearly complete. 0 comments 0 vote. The duel won. The grand hall of the Phoenix estate buzzed with anticipation. Lords, ladies, and distinguished guests from across the underworld had gathered for a spectacle unlike any before, a human challenging the Phoenix family in a raiding game. Itachi stood calm and unyielding at the center of the room, his expression unreadable. His enigmatic presence commanded attention, even among beings far older and more powerful. The air crackled with tension as Sears X Lucifer, seated regally, announced, "Let the game preparations begin." Riser Phoenix, wearing his usual smug grin, stepped forward with his peerage in tow. "I'll admit, Itachi, you're brave to stand alone. I hope you don't underestimate me. I am immortal, after all." Itachi's eyes narrowed slightly, a flicker of something unreadable crossing his face. Without a word, he turned and walked toward the portal. System: Summon Kisame Hoshigaki. A shimmering blue portal materialized behind him, its edges swirling like turbulent water. The gathered devils froze, sensing an immense power spilling forth. The pressure was suffocating, as though the sea itself had risen to challenge the heavens. From the portal stepped a towering figure, his appearance as unsettling as it was awe-inspiring. Kisame Hoshigaki, the tailless beast, emerged, his shark-like features and massive blade, Samahata, immediately drawing attention. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Ajuka Beelzebub leaned forward, his analytical gaze sharpening. His body resembles a human's, but his appearance and the senjutsu he exudes are like that of a beast. Even Sears X raised an eyebrow, impressed by the dense, overwhelming aura Kisame radiated. Impressive. His senjutsu is even denser than the Nine Tails chakra. Kisame glanced around, his predatory smile widening as he took in the crowd. His voice was low and gravelly, yet filled with amusement. "So, this is the underworld. Not bad, Itachi. Quite the lively place." Itachi's voice echoed in Kisami's mind through their system-linked communication. "Focus. Your targets are Riser, his brother, and their peerage. I'll handle the rest." Kisame chuckled mentally, his confidence unwavering. "Understood. This should be fun. The portal teleported them to the game field, a sprawling volcanic landscape dotted with rivers of molten lava. The heat was stifling, but Kisame seemed invigorated, as if he thrived in such conditions. Riser's peerage took their positions, each member radiating confidence. Lord Phoenix observed from outside along with his family, his expression unreadable but his pride evident. Riser smirked, crossing his arms. This will be over quickly. My peerage, eliminate them. Riser's confidence was evident. He had instructed his peerage to avoid looking Itachi in the eyes after learning of his Sharingan's power. He himself focused on Itachi's feet, determined not to fall into the same trap. As Riser's knights and pawns charged, Kisame stepped forward, cracking his neck. Let's see how you handle this. He slammed Samahata into the ground, and the battlefield shifted. A massive surge of water erupted from beneath him, extinguishing the lava rivers and transforming the volcanic terrain into a battlefield submerged ankle-deep in water. What? Riser's peerage faltered, caught off guard. Kisame's grin widened. You're in my domain now. With a burst of speed, Kisame engaged Riser's knights, his movements deceptively fast for his size. Samahata roared to life, draining the demonic energy of anyone it touched. Riser's knight fell first, overwhelmed by the relentless assault. Kisame's mastery over water techniques turned the battlefield into a chaotic whirlpool, isolating Riser's pieces and disrupting their coordination. Meanwhile, Itachi observed from the edge of the battlefield, his Sharingan analyzing every move. Through the system's interface, he monitored Kisame's energy levels and directed his actions when necessary. Riser, frustrated, launched a barrage of fire attacks. You can't beat me. I'm immortal. Kisame absorbed the flames with ease, his water techniques neutralizing the attacks. Immortal or not, you're running out of energy. Let's see how long you can keep this up. Seeing an opportunity, Itachi stepped forward. His Sharingan spun, sending a wave of genjutsu outward. Riser's remaining peerage members hesitated, their minds clouded by illusions. One by one, they fell to Kisame's relentless assault. As the battle wore on, Riser's frustration boiled over. Enough. I'll end this myself. He launched himself at Kisame, flames erupting from his body in a desperate attempt to overpower the shark-like warrior. Kisame met the fiery assault head-on, Samahata devouring the flames with glee. Riser's immortality posed a challenge. No matter how many times he fell, he regenerated, his flames reigniting with each revival. Itachi, observing this, activated his unsealed Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. His voice was calm but firm. Kisame, step back. Kisame obeyed, retreating to let Itachi take the lead. Itachi locked eyes with Riser, and the world around them shifted. In an instant, Riser found himself trapped in a world of crimson. The oppressive weight of Itachi's Tsukuyomi bore down on him. It's over, Itachi said softly. In the illusion, Riser experienced 1,000 deaths, each one more excruciating than the last. When the genjutsu ended, he collapsed to his knees, trembling and unable to stand. The battlefield dissolved, and the participants were teleported back to the Grand Hall. The crowd was silent, stunned by the display they had witnessed. Lord Phoenix stepped forward, his expression unreadable. Impressive. To defeat Riser and his peerage is no small feat, and in such a short time. Itachi inclined his head slightly. Preparation determines the outcome. Kisame, still grinning, leaned on Samahata. That was a good warm-up. Let me know when the real fight starts. The Devil Kings exchanged glances, each of them recognizing the potential threat Itachi and Kisame posed. Searsex finally broke the silence, a small smile playing on his lips. You've proven your strength, Itachi. But this is only the first round. Itachi nodded, his eyes unwavering. I am prepared. 1 comments 0 vote. The duel 2. The Grand Hall was still abuzz with whispers about the previous match when Searsex Lucifer rose, silencing the crowd. For the next rating game, Itachi has chosen to send his ally alone. Kisame Hoshigaki will face Ruval Phoenix and his peerage. Gasps rippled through the audience. Ruval Phoenix was not just Riser's elder brother, he was an ultimate class devil, second only to Mao class in power. His peerage included elite warriors, with his queen also reaching the rank of ultimate class. Kisami's grin widened at the announcement. Alone, huh? Perfect. Itachi nodded from his corner, his calm demeanor unshaken. Do what you do best. The battlefield, Tokyo. The raiding game field shimmered into existence, a perfect replica of Tokyo at night. Towering skyscrapers, bustling streets, and neon lights flickered in the simulated city. The illusion of life was uncanny, but it was devoid of people. Kisame stood at the center of Shibuya Crossing, Samahata slung over his shoulder. Ruval Phoenix and his peerage materialized at the opposite end, their regal presence contrasting with the modern backdrop. Ruval stepped forward, his aura blazing with golden flames. Your arrogance will be your undoing, shark. I am not my brother. This won't be a mere warm-up for you. Kisami's shark-like grin stretched wider. Good. I was hoping for a challenge. Ruval's knights and pawns surged forward, their magic circles glowing as they launched attacks ranging from fireballs to lightning strikes. The city was instantly illuminated with the light of their spells. Kisame clapped his hands together, forming a series of hand seals. Sweden, Bakusui Shoha. A colossal wave erupted from the ground, swallowing entire city blocks and extinguishing the incoming spells. The wave transformed the battlefield into a flooded urban environment, the buildings now half submerged in water. The knights faltered as Kisame leapt into action, Samahata tearing through their defenses. Each strike drained their demonic energy, leaving them weakened and vulnerable. Seeing his pawns and knights falter, Ruval unleashed a torrent of golden flames that evaporated the surrounding water. His queen stepped forward, summoning a massive storm of icicles that rained down on Kisame. Kisame weaved through the attacks with uncanny speed, his hands a blur of motion. Sweden, Daikoden no Jutsu. A massive water shark surged forth, colliding with Ruval's flames and the queen's ice storm. The resulting explosion leveled several skyscrapers, sending debris flying in all directions. Kisame emerged from the smoke, slightly scorched but grinning. Not bad. Let's see how you handle this. The city was in chaos. Entire districts were reduced to rubble as Kisame clashed with Ruval and his peerage. The queen, wielding an arsenal of destructive ice spells, conjured a massive glacier that threatened to crush Kisame. Undeterred, Kisame leapt atop the glacier and drove Samahata into its core. The blade roared as it absorbed the magical energy, shattering the glacier into harmless shards. Ruval appeared behind him, his body wreathed in flames. You're tough, but this ends now. He unleashed a concentrated blast of golden fire, the intensity of which melted the surrounding buildings. Kisame countered with a dome of water, the two elements colliding in a burst of steam that blanketed the battlefield. The battle raged for 12 minutes, each combatant pushing their limits. Kisami's relentless assault had whittled down Ruval's peerage, leaving only the queen and Ruval himself. Ruval, now visibly worn, conjured a massive magic circle. Witness the power of the Phoenix family's legacy. A colossal phoenix made of golden flames descended, its cry echoing through the ruined city. Kisame smirked, unfazed. Time to end this. He performed a series of hand signs faster than ever before. Sweden, Dai Bakusui Shoha. A titanic wave surged forth, dwarfing the phoenix and engulfing the battlefield. The sheer force extinguished Ruval's flames and sent him crashing into a toppled skyscraper. Kisame emerged from the floodwaters, battered but victorious. Samahata growled in satisfaction, having absorbed vast amounts of energy. The battlefield dissolved, returning the participants to the Grand Hall. Ruval and his queen were unconscious, their defeat undeniable. The crowd was stunned into silence, the destruction they had witnessed still fresh in their minds. Ajuka Beelzebub murmured, his power is unreal. To face an ultimate class devil and win. Lord Phoenix's expression was grim, his pride visibly wounded. Kisame, leaning on Samahata, laughed. That was fun. Who's next? Searzek stood, a glint of amusement and caution in his eyes. You've proven yourself, Kisame. But there are stronger opponents yet to come. Kisame glanced at Itachi, who merely nodded. Good, the shark man said. But I won't fight the next battle. Kisame sat on a nearby chair, his chakra depleted to 60%. His gaze rested on his sword, which caught the attention of every demon in the room. He smirked. The demonic energy stored within it could transform him completely, but he couldn't activate it without Itachi's help. 1 comments 0 vote. Pissed. Download the app for additional rewards. More events, more perks. Winning you more free perks. Download now. King_001FN. Download app now. Itachi vs Lord Phoenix 1. The grand hall was hushed as Lord Phoenix stepped forward, his regal presence commanding the attention of all present. His golden hair and fiery aura shimmered, radiating an air of unshakable confidence. I will fight the next battle personally, Lord Phoenix declared, his voice calm but firm. I will not use my peerage. It would be disrespectful, to myself and to you, Itachi Uchiha. The room fell silent at his words. For a devil of Lord Phoenix's status to fight alone was unprecedented, a testament to his pride and the weight of this challenge. Itachi's crimson Sharingan glinted as he nodded slightly. Very well. I accept. Itachi's calculations. As he prepared to move, Itachi's mind worked in overdrive. The reason he had sent Kisame earlier was to test the limits of 2 ultimate-class devils. With Ruval and his queen's abilities, he had expected Kisame to not burn a lot of his energy, but the result was disappointing. Kisame used about 40% of his reserves. If I had taken their place, my bloodline abilities would have ensured an easy win, Itachi thought, his Sharingan spinning faintly as he analyzed the data. But the problem isn't winning, it's sustainability. Chakra is my only limiting factor. My Sharingan, Amaterasu, and Tsukuyomi consume too much, and my reserves aren't infinite. He opened the system interface discreetly, scanning his options. The idea of upgrading his chakra reserves tempted him, but the fight against Lord Phoenix presented an unexpected opportunity. If Lord Phoenix insists on fighting alone, why waste resources? With Kisami's system-linked chakra reserves at 25%, I can supplement my own during the fight. It's efficient and cost-effective. The system's win rate analysis confirmed his approach. Despite Lord Phoenix's power and immortality, Itachi's win probability had only dropped by 1.3%. Satisfied, he moved toward the portal. His reason for double-checking all this was simple. Once the battle began, system rules prohibited purchases from the shop. Preparation was critical. Soon both of them find themselves in the battlefield with green grassland and mountains. The battlefield shimmered with an intense heat as the duel began. Lord Phoenix, standing regal and unyielding, ignited the air around him, the flames forming a golden aura. Itachi, his Sharingan spinning, studied his opponent with a calm yet calculating gaze. You're different from the others I've faced, Lord Phoenix said, his tone laced with curiosity. Your presence is demonic and you eyes are just. Flattery won't distract me, Itachi replied coldly. Lord Phoenix smirked. Good. Show me your resolve. Without hesitation, Lord Phoenix raised his hand, summoning a massive crimson magic circle above him. Flames of the Eternal Phoenix. A storm of fire erupted, descending upon Itachi like a tidal wave of destruction. The ground cracked and melted under its intensity. Itachi countered swiftly, weaving hand seals with precise movements. Fire style, Great Fireball Jutsu. The 2 fire attacks clashed in midair, creating an explosion that sent shockwaves across the battlefield. Lava burst from the ground, and the air filled with smoke and ash. Through the haze, Lord Phoenix's voice carried. Impressive. To match my flames is no small feat. Lord Phoenix conjured another magic circle, this time unleashing a rain of fiery spears that fell from the heavens like meteors. Itachi evaded gracefully, his Sharingan predicting the path of each spear. Fire style, Phoenix Flower Jutsu. Itachi retaliated, launching a barrage of smaller, concentrated fireballs that swirled toward his opponent. Lord Phoenix waved his hand, forming a golden flame barrier that absorbed the attack. Your control over fire is remarkable. But fire alone won't defeat a phoenix. Itachi remained silent, his Sharingan spinning faster. He vanished from sight, reappearing behind Lord Phoenix with kunai in hand. Before he could strike, a burst of flame erupted from Lord Phoenix, forcing Itachi to leap back. You'll need more than speed to overcome me, Phoenix said, his voice unwavering. The battle intensified as both combatants began unleashing their more powerful techniques. Itachi attempted a powerful genjutsu, casting Lord Phoenix into a nightmare of endless pain. But Lord Phoenix shattered the illusion with a burst of raw power, his flames roaring to life. You think to trap a phoenix in illusion? Clever, but futile. Itachi's eyes narrowed. His genjutsu was ineffective, but his options were far from exhausted. Itachi activated the Mangekyo Sharingan, blood dripping from his eyes as he unleashed Amaterasu. The black flames surged forward, consuming everything in their path. The flames reached Lord Phoenix, engulfing him in an instant. For a moment, it seemed the battle was over. But then, from the center of the black flames, a massive pillar of golden fire erupted, dividing the sky and shaking the earth. The sound of 1,000 screeching phoenixes echoed as the flames consumed the battlefield. Lord Phoenix emerged from the inferno, his body regenerating as his golden aura blazed brighter than ever. Magnificent, he said, his tone filled with genuine appreciation. These black flames of yours, they are worthy of respect. But you'll need far more to burn a phoenix. The massive pillar of fire remained, burning brightly and piercing the heavens. The audience watching through magical projections gasped at the sheer magnitude of Lord Phoenix's power. Itachi stood his ground, his Sharingan studying the flames with unshaken focus. He spoke quietly, his voice barely audible over the roar of fire. Even the brightest flame can be extinguished. Phoenix chuckled, his voice filled with both pride and excitement. Then extinguish me, Uchiha. Show me the depth of your power. As the flames continued to rage, Itachi began weaving hand seals again, his chakra flaring with renewed intensity. The clash was far from over, and both warriors knew this was only the beginning. 1 comments 0 vote. Itachi vs Lord Phoenix 2. The air crackled with unbearable tension as Lord Phoenix stood amidst the swirling inferno, his presence like a golden sun, burning with divine fury. His expression remained calm, but the deadly seriousness in his glowing eyes sent shivers through the onlookers. His voice rang out like a tolling bell, resonating with finality. It's time to end this, Uchiha. Phoenix's body erupted into searing flames, the fire consuming him completely as he transformed into his true form, a colossal phoenix of blazing gold and red, towering over the battlefield. The temperature soared as he inhaled deeply, his chest glowing with unimaginable heat. When he exhaled, a torrent of golden flames spiraled outward, roaring like a divine beast unleashed from the heavens. Sacred Phoenix Flame Breath. The flames surged forward, an unstoppable tide of destruction. The battlefield melted, rivers of magma forming in the wake of the inferno. Everything in its path was reduced to ash and molten ruin. The golden fire lit the horizon, turning night into day. Inside the grand hall where the devil kings and nobility observed the battle through magical projections, silence fell. Even the most seasoned warriors leaned forward, their expressions grave. This technique, this overwhelming display of power, was only said to have been used during the Phoenix Civil War, a time of legend and bloodshed. As the golden flames engulfed Itachi Uchiha, the projection turned white-hot, rendering everything invisible. For a moment, it seemed as though nothing could survive the divine blaze. When flames finally subsided, all that remained was molten rock, smoke, and silence. But then, through the dense haze, a colossal figure emerged, glowing with an ominous red light. Itachi Susanoo stood tall, its ethereal armor shimmering defiantly against the flames. The Yata mirror in its left hand gleamed, having absorbed and deflected the remnants of Phoenix's attack. Behind Itachi, the battlefield was unrecognizable, a charred, molten wasteland. Inside Susanoo, his voice cut through the suffocating heat, cold and calculating. What was that technique? It feels holy and demonic at the same time. Lord Phoenix, still hovering amidst his flames, smirked. His wings flared, illuminating the battlefield. That's none of your concern, Uchiha. Focus on surviving, if you can. Susanoo began to shift and grow, its armor thickening and solidifying. The glowing construct expanded into its third stage, towering at nearly 100 meters, its massive sword gleaming like a beacon of death. Phoenix snarled, his body erupting once more in flames. His phoenix form grew even larger, reaching 120 meters, his wings stretching wide and ablaze with golden fire. He raised one flaming talon, a massive magic circle appearing beneath him. Symbols and runes glowed fiercely, their energy pulling in ambient power from the battlefield and sky. The two titans faced each other, their immense power warping the air. Every breath they took sent shockwaves rippling through the molten ground. Phoenix dove toward Itachi, his entire body wreathed in spiraling flames. His talons glowed with destructive energy as he aimed for Susanoo's core. Itachi raised Susanoo's sword, meeting Phoenix's attack head-on. The impact sent a deafening explosion across the battlefield, magma and debris flying in every direction. The sheer force of the clash shook the heavens. Itachi's Sharingan spun furiously, predicting Phoenix's movements with precision. He swung Susanoo's blade, aiming for the phoenix's wings. But Phoenix twisted midair, evading the strike with terrifying speed. In retaliation, he unleashed a barrage of golden firestorms, filling the battlefield with blinding heat. The Yata mirror absorbed the flames, but even so, the pressure forced Susanoo back, its glowing feet sliding through the molten ground. Inside his Susanoo, Itachi's eyes burned as he tried to push the construct to its final form. But despite his efforts, the transformation would not occur. System, Itachi muttered through gritted teeth. Why can't I access the final form? I've never been pushed this far in battle. The system's voice replied, cold and unyielding. You lack the chakra of Indra or Ashura. Without their essence, the full power of Susanoo is beyond your reach. Itachi's eyes narrowed, blood streaming from them. So I'm not at my peak. Above him, Phoenix rose higher into the sky, his body glowing like a living sun. With an ear-splitting screech, he summoned another massive magic circle, its runes pulsating with divine and demonic energy. The circle expanded, encompassing the entire battlefield, pulling in molten lava and loose debris, gathering power for a cataclysmic strike. It ends now, Uchiha. Phoenix's voice boomed, shaking the heavens themselves. He dove at full speed, his body encased in a spiraling inferno of golden and crimson fire. His attack burned with a force that seemed capable of splitting the world in two. Itachi, his Susanoo barely holding together, raised both the Yata mirror and the sword in defense. The titans collided, the explosion of energy ripping through the battlefield. The molten ground split open, magma spewing into the sky as cracks spread like veins of destruction. For a moment, the world seemed to stand still, the power of their clash erasing all sound and light. When the dust settled, Itachi stood amidst the devastation, his Susanoo fractured but still standing. Blood streamed from his eyes, but his When the dust settled, Itachi stood amidst the devastation, his Susanoo fractured but still standing. Blood streamed from his eyes, but his resolve was unbroken. Phoenix reformed, his phoenix body flickering with exhaustion but still radiating unmatched power. His voice echoed with both admiration and grim determination. You are remarkable, Uchiha. But you cannot stop what is to come. The battle was far from over. The air remained thick with power, and the world braced for their next clash. 5 comments 0 vote. Itachi vs. Lord Phoenix 3. The battlefield was a shattered inferno, magma flowing like rivers and ash choking the air. Itachi knelt within his massive Susanoo, its form radiating an eerie, crimson glow. His body trembled, pushed to the brink of exhaustion, blood streaming from his eyes as his breathing grew ragged. Even with the strength of his Sharingan, the unrelenting might of his opponent weighed heavily on him. Above him, Lord Phoenix hovered in his blazing phoenix form, radiating divine and demonic energy in equal measure. His golden flames burned hotter than the molten earth below, his massive wings casting an oppressive shadow over the battlefield. His voice echoed like thunder. Itachi Uchiha, your will is commendable, but your strength has reached its limit. Surrender and accept your defeat. Itachi's response was a whisper, spoken within his own mind. System, allocate remaining chakra reserves from Kisame. The cold, mechanical voice of the system responded. Confirmed. Allocating chakra. A surge of energy coursed through Itachi, replenishing him momentarily. Kisame's chakra merged with his own, granting him a brief reprieve. But it was not enough. System, he continued, his voice sharp and resolute. Unlock the Three Tails chakra. All of it. Warning. Full depletion of the Three Tails chakra will result in critical physical and mental strain. You will also lose Three Tails chakra. Proceed. I don't care. Do it now. The ground trembled as the energy of the Three Tails erupted within Itachi, intertwining with his chakra. A bluish aura enveloped his Susanoo, merging with its crimson radiance. The new surge of power revitalized him, even as it came at a heavy cost. The Susanoo began to shift, growing larger and more defined. Its ethereal armor solidified, and its form became a towering titan of nearly 300 meters. In its right hand, the sword of Totsuka shimmered with a deadly, spectral light, while in its left, the legendary Yata mirror gleamed, its surface reflecting the chaos around it. The Susanoo's very presence distorted reality, exuding an aura of invincibility. Phoenix faltered for the first time, his golden eyes narrowing in astonishment. So, this is the full power of the Uchiha clan. Impressive, but it won't save you. With a deafening screech, Phoenix spread his flaming wings wide. His body erupted into a fiery inferno as massive magic circles materialized around him, each pulsating with ancient runes of destruction. The battlefield trembled beneath the weight of their energy. You will witness my full wrath, Uchiha. Prepare yourself. Phoenix roared, his voice shaking the heavens. As Lord Phoenix unleashed his full power, 6 massive magic circles appeared in the sky, each ready to deliver devastating attacks. The first, Eternal Phoenix Flare, was a colossal wave of golden fire that engulfed the battlefield, consuming everything in its path. Itachi's Susanoo was nearly overwhelmed by the intensity of the flames. Next came the Crimson Feather Barrage, as Phoenix's wings released a storm of razor-sharp, fiery feathers. They hammered into Susanoo, shaking its ethereal armor and leaving it battered. Then, the infernal pyre storm twisted into existence, creating a vortex of searing flames that choked the air and threatened to suffocate the Susanoo with its heat. With lightning speed, Phoenix summoned the Solar Flame Prison, massive chains of molten fire erupting from the ground to bind Susanoo. The molten chains constricted, burning into the construct's defenses. The meteor strike followed, with flaming meteors crashing down, leaving craters and sending shockwaves that rattled the battlefield and weakened Susanoo's form. Finally, Phoenix's Cataclysm unleashed a destructive beam of concentrated golden energy, striking Susanoo with the force of 1,000 suns, burning through its defenses and shattering the air around it. Each attack battered Susanoo relentlessly, pushing it to its limits, while the battlefield was reduced to a fiery wasteland. Itachi remained still within the Susanoo as the Yata mirror moved with uncanny precision. The legendary shield absorbed the waves of fire, deflected the razor feathers, and nullified the searing chains of the solar flame prison. Even the ashen meteors crumbled against its divine surface. When the phoenix's cataclysm struck, it was as if the heavens themselves exploded. The beam clashed with the Yata mirror, the impact creating a massive shockwave that tore through the battlefield. The ground split apart, magma erupted skyward, and the very air rippled with destructive force. Inside his Susanoo, Itachi's Sharingan spun rapidly, blood pouring from his eyes as he focused all his remaining strength into his defense. The mirror held firm, but the strain on Itachi's body was immense. The mirror managed to absorb 40% of the destructive power. As the dust settled, the battlefield was silent, the ground reduced to a molten wasteland. Phoenix hovered in the air, his flames flickering but his resolve unbroken. Below, Itachi's Susanoo stood tall, slight cracks forming along its armor but its power undiminished. Phoenix narrowed his eyes. "You've deflected my power, Uchiha. But can you truly withstand the eternal fire of the phoenix?" Itachi's voice was calm but ice-cold. "You underestimate the power of Uchiha clan, which is considered as strongest, Lord Phoenix. Brute force alone will not win this battle." The Susanoo moved with sudden, terrifying speed. In an instant, it ascended to Phoenix's level, the sword of Totsuka glowing with spectral energy. The blade slashed downward, aiming directly for Phoenix's chest. The Phoenix Lord evaded, retaliating with a flaming strike of his own, but the Susanoo's speed and precision were unmatched. The two titans clashed in the sky, their blows creating shockwaves that shattered the earth below. Phoenix unleashed torrents of golden flames, but the Susanoo's Yata mirror absorbed each attack, leaving him vulnerable. With a final burst of speed, the Susanoo's sword struck true, piercing through Phoenix's blazing form and pinning him to the molten ground. Phoenix let out a deafening screech as the sword of Totsuka began to seal his essence. The flames around his body flickered and dimmed as the blade's spectral energy drained his power. "You fought valiantly," Itachi said, his voice filled with respect. "But this is the end. 1 comments 0 vote. A selfish hero." The golden flames of Lord Phoenix dimmed as his massive phoenix form flickered, disintegrating into embers. His towering figure shrank back to his humanoid state, his body barely able to remain upright. Lord Phoenix's voice was faint but laced with respect. "You've won, Uchiha. This battle is yours." Itachi stood amidst the smoldering ruins, his Susanoo dissolving into fragments of light. His chakra reserves were depleted, his vision blurred, and his body trembling from exhaustion. Blood continued to drip from his eyes, a testament to the strain of the Sharingan. He needs to buy Hashirama cells, which costs 10 million shock points. Phoenix stumbled, collapsing to his knees. "I can't regenerate. My mana is gone. Even my flames. They're extinguished," he said with a crazy smile on his face. The ground beneath them began to rumble violently, cracks spreading as the dimension itself started to collapse. The protective barrier shattered, and the skies above tore open, revealing a small portal to safety. Why safety? Because the entire dimensions is collapsing. A&D energy from dimensional gaps started to flow in. The same energy which can kill even high-class being. As the battlefield cracked and crumbled, the dimensional gap's chaotic energy roared around Itachi and Lord Phoenix. The portal high above shimmered faintly, slowly shrinking. It was their only way out, and Itachi's chakra reserves were nearly gone. Lord Phoenix groaned from the ground, his body weakened and his mana depleted. "Uchiha, save yourself. I'll remain here. This is my failure." Itachi stared at the portal, then at Phoenix, his mind racing. His expression remained stoic, but inside, he was panicking. "Save myself. From here." He glanced down at his own legs, as if willing them to sprout wings. TCH. That's not an option. His thoughts darkened further. Damn it. If I leave him here, I'll survive maybe 5 seconds before I fall into this void. Why didn't I ever invest in flight techniques? How could I have missed something so essential? Itachi sighed, running a hand through his hair. His face betrayed no emotion, but inside, the gears of self-preservation were in overdrive. Itachi knelt next to Phoenix, placing a hand on his shoulder. No, Lord Phoenix. I won't leave you behind. His voice was calm, almost heroic. Phoenix blinked, surprised. You won't. No. Itachi's voice deepened, laced with dramatic conviction. You're a proud devil, a leader, a father. Your family needs you. The underworld needs you. I would never abandon someone of your stature in their time of need. Phoenix looked at him, a flicker of respect in his tired eyes. You're a noble man, Itachi Uchiha. Itachi nodded solemnly. If only you knew, he thought. I just don't want to die. Summoning the last dregs of his chakra, Itachi activated Susanoo, creating a protective barrier around both of them as the dimension raged around them. Inside the shield, Phoenix lay recovering, while Itachi leaned against the shimmering ribcage of the Susanoo, his mind a whirlwind. I can't fly. This idiot's the only one here who can. If he doesn't recover soon, we're both toast. Damn it, I can't believe my survival depends on him. After a few tense moments, Phoenix stirred. His golden flames flickered faintly, his body beginning to regenerate. He sat up slowly, groaning. Your shield, it's holding well. I know, Itachi said flatly. Phoenix glanced at Itachi, his expression one of gratitude. You've done more than anyone could ask, Uchiha. You're a true warrior. Itachi nodded, his face calm and unreadable. Inside, he was screaming. Recover faster, you overcooked chicken. The portal's closing. Phoenix stood shakily, his strength partially restored. His wings flared faintly. I think I can fly again. Itachi suppressed a sigh of relief. Instead, he extended a hand dramatically. Then go. Let us to safety. Phoenix blinked. Wait. You can't fly. Itachi's eyes narrowed slightly. Don't ask unnecessary questions. Before Phoenix could press further, he grabbed Itachi by the arm, flaring his wings fully. Hold tight. Phoenix launched into the air, carrying Itachi toward the rapidly shrinking portal. The scene was almost surreal, the proud Phoenix Lord soaring majestically, holding a stoic ninja who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. As they approached the portal, Phoenix glanced down. You're surprisingly heavy for someone so lean. You're surprisingly chatty for someone who almost died, Itachi replied. They made it through the portal before it closed, landing the heavy thud in a clearing within the human world. Lady Phoenix and Ravel were already waiting. The moment Phoenix landed, Lady Phoenix rushed forward, tears streaming down her face. Lord Phoenix! She cried, throwing her arms around him. You reckless fool! Don't you ever go that far again! Ravel sniffled. Father, you scared us. Phoenix patted their head awkwardly. There. I'm fine. As the family had their tearful reunion, Itachi stood off to the side, covered in soot and debris, his expression blank. Inside, however, his frustration boiled over. I just risked my life to save that guy, and he gets a hug. Where's my acknowledgement? He sighed deeply, rubbing his temples. He glanced at the sky. Once again, my greatest weakness is exposed. I can't fly. Opening his system interface, Itachi scrolled through the skill list. He stopped at one entry. Earth Release, Ultralightweight Rock Technique. Cost, 15 million shock points. He clicked it without hesitation. System, he muttered under his breath, purchase the technique. Never again am I being carried like a sack of potatoes. The system chimed. Purchase complete. As Phoenix's family continued their emotional scene, Itachi quietly walked towards Kisame. Next time, I'm flying out myself. He muttered to himself. Seeing Kisame smile, Itachi wanted to punch him but hold back. He comes close to Samahata and put his hand on it. he allowed the system to change demonic energy into chakra for both him and Kisame. Their chakra started to feel up, and seeing this, every devil's eyes widened. This ability to recharge energy was very useful in long fights. Why not use water-style attack you got from me? Kisame spoke and Itachi froze after hearing it. 36 comments 0 vote. Reaction 1. All the noble devils were enjoying their leisure time in a grand gathering when the announcement of a raiding game stirred excitement among the crowd. The first match was between Riser Phoenix and his peerage against two humans. Although it wasn't a traditional raiding game, the stakes and curiosity surrounding the humans made it an event no one wanted to miss. When the game began, to everyone's shock, Riser and his team were effortlessly defeated despite having two high-class devils on his side, including himself and his sister. Well, it's not often we see Riser being defeated, Venelana Grimori remarked to Lady Phoenix. Lady Phoenix, covering her mouth with her fan, responded calmly, "Please, I know. But I believe it's better for him to face defeat now. It might help him grow," she said with sad face. To her right, Sona's mother interjected, "Say what you will, but isn't it alarming how these two humans are this strong?" In another part of the venue, Sears X addressed Serafal, "So, Serafal, what do you think of the fight?" Serafal, who had been enthusiastically scribbling document, stopped and adopted a serious tone. "The way Riser was defeated. Those humans are at least ultimate class in strength." Ajuka joined the discussion. "It's a pity we couldn't determine the full extent of their abilities. They don't seem to be using senjutsu." "Not using senjutsu?" Serafal and Searsex exchanged confused glances. Ajuka elaborated, "My observations and the information we have about the human named Itachi. It is clear to me he is not using senjutsu, and he calls his power chakra, which is different from magical power. His partner, Kisame, possesses chakra or senjutsu denser than even the leader of the Yukai, the Nine Tails. In fact, Kisami's energy is nearly 3 times as dense and more than 10 times than her. Itachi's chakra isn't far behind, but compared to Kisame he doesn't not have much chakra." He paused briefly, letting the information sink in, then continued, "Considering the Nine Tails leader is at the mid-ultimate class, both Itachi and Kisame are at least on par with that level." "It's impossible," Serafal exclaimed. "A human shouldn't be able to reach ultimate class. A few exceptions might manage high class, but this..." Searsex, pondering the implications, asked, "Ajuka, could a high-class devil reincarnate them using evil pieces? Or multiple pieces be required?" Ajuka's expression twitched. "It's not possible. Their power exceeds what a standard evil piece system can handle." "But Sona has a mutated piece," Serafal added smugly. "Rias also has one," Searsex countered. Their debate escalated in playful bickering until they decided on a coin toss. Itachi will Sona's peerage if heads, and Rias, if tails, and same will be done for Kisame. Ajuka sighed at their antics. "I already told them it's impossible unless they willingly suppress their power to be reincarnated," he thought to himself. As the discussion continued, a messenger from Searsex, peerage, interrupted the conversation. "Itachi has requested that Kisame fight alone in the next match." The room fell silent. Allowing Kisame to fight alone against 2 ultimate class devils and multiple high and mid-class devils seemed overwhelmingly unfair. Yet Searsex stood and announced the decision with authority. He also wanted to see full extent of his power. The fight began, and to everyone's astonishment, Kisame dominated his opponents with ease. His mastery of chakra and unique techniques used from chakra completely shocked them. Serafal, now poring over documents, muttered with growing concern, "This isn't good. If humans are part of the same organization, Akatsuki, and they have at least 3 members at ultimate class, then their leader must be even stronger. Sears X and Uchiha exchanged wary glances. The implications were grave. Serafal, are you suggesting there's someone above these individuals? Sears X asked. Yes, Serafal confirmed. One member, Ikuzu, has been observed showing extreme stealth and repeatedly complaining about a woman using all his money. If even he obeys their leader, it's safe to assume their leader is Devil King level or beyond. Falbium, the often silent fourth Devil King, finally spoke. If that's true, then the Akatsuki is a dangerous organization, possibly more threatening than any other faction we've encountered. Uchiha, his eyes glowing using calculations, added, if their leader can command individuals like Itachi and Kisame, then we're dealing with the threat surpasses conventional human limits. Uchiha closed his eyes and spoke once more. This organization might be connected to why we cannot erase the memories of humans. Furthermore, one of their members was the reason for the disturbance in the human world. For the first time, the Devil King began to question not only the strength of the Akatsuki but also the untapped potential of the human race. Reaction 2. Do you think both Itachi and Kisame are strongest members of their organization, or are all the members equally powerful? Serafal asked, her tone thoughtful but tinged with unease. Uchiha shook his head, his gaze steady as he conjured a magic circle above an image of Itachi holding a peculiar ring. I don't believe all members of this organization are on the same level, he replied firmly. The image came to life, reconstructed from Rias' extracted memories. It shifted, the stillness breaking as the figure of Itachi began to move and speak. A projection materialized in front of him, forming the image of a woman with striking blue hair and an origami flower in her hair. Her calm yet commanding presence seemed to dominate the room, even through the memory. Itachi, the woman said, her voice steady and authoritative. Did you find the three tails? And where is your partner? No, Itachi replied without hesitation, his tone as emotionless as ever. I did not find the three tails, and my partner is dead. However, I've encountered an opportunity. A wealthy family in the underworld is offering rare items called Phoenix Tears in exchange for a fight. The projection cut off abruptly, leaving the room in silence. The projection cut off abruptly, leaving the room in silence. They don't even care about each other, Serafal remarked, her expression darkening. Uchiha nodded. This confirms not all members of their group hold equal power as one of them was killed. But what concerns me more is the mission that led to one of their members dying, and what is this three tails? Serafal and Sears X exchanged uneasy glances before Sears X broke the silence. Serafal, summarize what we know about this organization. His tone was sharp, his focus now entirely on the screen showing the fight between Itachi and Lord Phoenix. Serafal quickly scanned the documents she had, glancing up occasionally as the battle raged on. From what we've gathered, this is a human organization, but their members are extraordinarily powerful and gifted. At least, Itachi is. His bone age is only 17. She paused, watching as Itachi effortlessly blocked one of Lord Phoenix's most devastating attacks with a shield-like object. It's clear from the way Itachi and Kisame interact that Itachi is the leader of their two-man team, despite Kisame having more raw power. And the others? Sears X prompted, his eyes narrowing at the escalating destruction on the battlefield. There are 6 confirmed members, Serafal continued. Itachi and Kisame are unquestionably ultimate class combatants. There's also a woman named Konan. Based on her interactions with Itachi, I believe she's even stronger than both of them. Their leader, she hesitated, as though reluctant to speak it aloud. Their leader is rumored to be on the level of a Devil King. Another member, Kikuzu, seems obsessed with money, but his true strength remains unconfirmed. And the last? Uchiha asked. One member is dead, Serafal finished. Her explanation ended as the battle intensified. Mountains crumbled and melted as if they were mere ice. The scale of destruction was reminiscent of the Civil War, yet even then, Lord Phoenix had never displayed such overwhelming power. The room fell silent, save for the sounds of the raging battle. The older devils, veterans of the Civil War, watched in pale-faced horror, their expressions reflecting memories of long-buried nightmares. "I thought Lord Phoenix would win," Sears X murmured, his voice low. "But this fight, it seems even." He briefly considered shutting down the live broadcast but dismissed the thought. Whatever came of this, they would face the consequences later. Ajuka suddenly rose to his feet. "Lord Phoenix might lose," he said, his tone grim. "It seems like Itachi is trying to unseal something." Sears X and Serafal both turned to him, their confusion apparent. Unseal what? Before they could press further, Itachi's humanoid form began to shift. Red energy flared violently around him, shaping itself into a massive, armored figure, a crimson Susanoo. The Susanoo moved with deadly precision, effortlessly deflecting Lord Phoenix's attacks before pinning him to the ground. Even 60% of his energy remaining, Lord Phoenix utterly powerless to free himself. To their collective horror, the Susanoo's sword began draining his demonic energy, absorbing it at an alarming rate. "That sword," Ajuka said, his voice urgent. "It's sealing Lord Phoenix." The realization sent shockwaves through the room. All the Devil Kings stood, their alarm evident. Lord Phoenix was not just a noble but one of the 10 strongest devils in the underworld. If he fell, it would be a catastrophic blow to their race. The artificial dimension began to collapse, its framework shattering under the strain of the battle. Sears X and the others moved to intervene, but a violent surge of energy from the dimensional gap stopped them. The sheer force repelled even Satan-class devils like them, a phenomenon none of them had ever encountered before. Ajuka's voice cut through the chaos. "I've located the portal's exit." His magic circle activated in a flash, and moments later, they teleported to the human world. As they arrived, Ajuka erected a barrier to contain the area, sealing all entry and exit points. Suddenly a portal opened, and from it, Kisame emerged. For a moment, his eyes flicked around the unfamiliar surroundings. Then, as if unbothered by the tension in the air, he sat down casually, resting his massive blade, Samahata, behind him. He radiated confidence, a clear indication of his faith in Itachi and that he don't fear them. Sears X observed the scene carefully, unease building in his chest. He hadn't sensed how Kisame had teleported, a troubling sign that suggested use of magic beyond their comprehension. "This wasn't magic," Sears X muttered, his voice low but sharp. "This is something else." Ajuka, his mind already working at full speed, transmitted the coordinates of their location to the remaining Ultimate Class Devils. Orders were sent to mobilize all available forces. As the devils teleported and took their positions, the only exceptions were Lady Phoenix and her 2 young children, both of whom were high-class devils. The eldest son had also arrived, despite the danger. Ajuka did not question why high-class devils were present, understanding that their family member's life was at risk. Without objection, he reinforced their position by creating a barrier using his power, ensuring their protection should a fight break out. The tension thickened as the barrier hummed around them. Kisame, still seated, seemed entirely unconcerned, his calm demeanor a sharp contrast to the rising panic among the devils. Inside the crumbling artificial dimension, Itachi's Susanoo stood as an unshakable monolith of power. Lord Phoenix, one of the underworld's mightiest, was pinned beneath its colossal blade, his energy rapidly dwindling. "What is that sword doing?" Serafal asked, her voice trembling. "It's not just sealing his energy," Ajuka replied, his tone grim. "It's trying to absorb his soul." "Why aren't they stopping? Don't they realize this dimension is collapsing?" Ravel cried, her voice breaking as tears streamed down her face. "Don't worry, Papa will be all right," Lady Phoenix reassured her daughter, though tears glistened in her own eyes. Her voice wavered, betraying the fear she tried to hide. Riser, standing nearby, was consumed with guilt. He clenched his fists tightly, his mind racing. It was his fault his father was in this situation. If only he hadn't acted so recklessly, his family wouldn't be facing such danger. Everyone present braced themselves, certain that Itachi would deal the killing blow to Lord Phoenix. It was what they expected, a merciless end to the battle. However, what happened next left them in utter shock. To their astonishment, Itachi did not kill Lord Phoenix. Instead, he shielded him from the collapsing dimension. The armored form of Susanoo surrounded them both, protecting Lord Phoenix from harm. As Lord Phoenix emerged from the collapsing dimensional gap with Itachi's assistance, the devils gathered outside were on edge. Itachi had emerged victorious, and they all understood the implications of his victory. For devils, losing was unacceptable. They prided themselves on dominance, cunning, and power. Being looted, especially by an outsider, was a humiliation they could not tolerate. Looting, scheming, and seizing power, money, resources were part of their nature. They were ready to kill Itachi and his friend. Yet, what happened next shattered their worldview entirely.